Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Cloud 8 Strategy and Games. And for the last few days, I've been working on my Endless Space series, but I thought I'd take a little bit of a break from that. I've got a bunch of pre-recorded videos for that I'm still uploading because of the slow upload speed, but I thought I'd take a break from that and give you guys a little something different today. We're going to take a look at a game called Germany at War Barbarossa 1941. And now this game is published by MatrixGames.com, so I would encourage you to take a look at it there. They also have a variety of different other games. If you if you couldn't tell, or if you're not maybe as historically savvy, Germany at War Barbarossa 1941 is a reference to the operation, the code name for the invasion of the Soviet Union in World War II, which happened June of 1941. I can't remember now if I think it's June 22nd, 1941. So that's what this game is going to be focused on. It is a strategy turn-based game, similar to Panzer General, or the remake of that, Panzer Corps, if you're familiar with either of those. Panzer Corps and many of its offshoots and expansions and DLCs, etc., are available also on Matrix Games. And I believe the game designer is Slytherin. I believe it's a British company. I could be wrong on that, but it's Slytherin in cooperation with the publisher Matrix Games. Matrix Games publishes a lot of what I would hesitantly call hardcore strategy games. Now there are some. This game is not a hardcore strategy game. It's more along the line of what people would call beer and pretzels. So something that's not overly complicated. I don't know if you're familiar with Gary Grigsby's War in the East or the newly released War in the West. Those are some people wouldn't say they're overly complicated, but they're very in-depth, they're very hardcore. You're not going to sit down and play it for 20 minutes and finish a game by any means. You might sit down and play it for 20 minutes and finish part of a turn. This game is not like that, but it is in-depth enough to be interesting and strategic to satisfy at least my desire for that kind of a game. So if any of that kind of stuff interests you, they have a wide variety of games and a wide variety of historical periods, like anything from the ancient times like Rome up through modern history. They recently have started releasing games on Steam, so Command Ops, or I think it's Command Ops Naval Warfare. Not something that I'm interested in, but it's a modern, naval air warfare simulation, and it's also out on Steam. But anyway, I would encourage you to check out MatrixGames.com. It's MATRIX Games.com. So check that out. I think it's enjoyable. The only thing I would say is that it's unlike Steam. There's not a lot of $10, $15 games there. This game is $30, which is probably one of the cheaper games on the site. So anyway, I guess go there if you've got some extra cash and you have an itching for a strategy war game. So anyway, I'll give you a little rundown of this. Options, pretty basic. I first tried to record the video and realized that my sound was ridiculously loud, so I had to kind of scrap that and start over again. I think there is also a German version that you can download, or at the very least you can change the language to German. So if you are German as a first language kind of person and you prefer to play it in German or auf Deutsch, then that's available to you there as well. I don't know German nearly well enough to do that, so I'm going to stick with English for this one. And then your basic options. Really nothing to talk about other than that. It does come with an editor. I haven't played around with this because, quite honestly, I don't really have the time or patience or knowledge offhand to do that, but you can basically make scenarios as you desire and put in troops. And that's the NATO counter, but as you zoom in, it changes back to the 3D. But either way, you can make scenarios if that's something you're interested in. That's available to you. Let's see. It gives you recommended scenarios. I'm not sure what that is based on. It does have multiplayer over a play-by-email system, which if you're familiar with Battle Academy series 1 or 2, another Slytherin-made, Matrix-published game series, also available on Steam. The multiplayer for that is pretty slick, the way they've got it set up there. play-by-email system is really neat, and it works pretty well. I first started playing Battle Academy on the iPad, and it worked. It was really easy, so that's a plus. And I think the same system is used for Germany at War. It comes with 14 standalone scenarios. Various dates throughout the Second World War on the Eastern Front, and different battles with different sizes. You can see this one's pretty small, relatively small, I guess I should say, 80 by 60 kilometers. And then some other larger ones, 158 by 170. So anyway, different 14 different scenarios you can pick from. And then also I should point out you can change the difficulty down here. And different effects, like will weather influence your movement? Do you have fog of war, supply, and even detailed supply? The amount of experience you have, the amount of resources you have, and also for the enemy. So, and then it gives you a little description, and it shows you a map, and then a general vicinity in the larger picture of the Eastern Front. So that's kind of neat. Campaign, there are 4 different campaigns, some shorter scenarios, Army Group North, a couple battles up north around Leningrad, Finland, and the Baltic republics. Case Blue would be the drive towards Stalingrad, or at least a part of it. And then Operation Barbarossa would be the beginning. That's kind of your intermediate campaign, a couple shorter ones, and then I'm not sure how to say that city name, but anyway, basically it's 2 port cities, one on the Caspian Sea and one on, I don't try and blank in the name of that sea up there, but basically the north area, one of Russia's ports. This was the line the Germans were trying to make it to before winter set in 41, to basically take over all of because yes, Russia's a large country, but this is largely unpopulated and kind of sparse terrain, where this is where most of their factories and population centers are kind of located, so the Germans set that as their initial objective. So if there's a lot of interest in this series, maybe we'll play through one of these if you guys really want to see one of the campaigns, but I figured I'd just start you with a tutorial, maybe do 1 or 2 videos, get you through the tutorial, show you what it's like, let you see how it plays, and then if there's a lot of interest in it, we can definitely, by all means, we can continue that, and then if not, we'll just go on to something else, and you'll be all the wiser knowing about another strategy video game that's available for you out there. So because this is the tutorial, we can't really edit anything in here like we could with the open scenarios, but we'll just go ahead and load that. And they come with a briefing, and normally, like I said, with a scenario or a part of your campaign, you can see your objectives or the enemy's objectives and kind of read what's important in the scenario. But for this, basically it's just saying, hey, we need new commanders. Therefore, we've given you some forces, and we're going to teach you how to use them. Alright, so turn 1 of 1. Alright, so I'll try to keep these notes up here long enough for you to read. I kind of know, I've played it a couple of times, so I kind of know generally what it's telling you to do. So it's saying, hey, here's the info button. You can read tutorial messages back through here. And by pressing C, you can go directly to the combat protocol. This is the unit dialog box. It'll show you some information about your units, which you don't really see because we haven't selected one right now. You can open it and close it with a right click on a unit, or with this button if a unit is selected. I'm not sure which. It must be this button. Show hide ground units. So either way, yep. So there's different levels of units represented in the game, and the graphics I think are a little bit better. I just like them a little bit better than I do the Panzer Corps ones. The Panzer Corps seems a little less 3D and a little more board game-ish. But they're both are good. They're just different styles, really, and I prefer this style a little bit more, but a minor point basically. So very similar game, this and Panzer Corps, if you're looking to compare the two. So anyway, this game, it says formations come in 4 different levels, or sizes, I guess. So you've got a division, a brigade, a regiment, and a battalion, and all it's doing is telling you the nominal strength of the units. So a division is 15, a brigade with an X if you're using NATO counters, but I'm not that hardcore. I like to look at the little 3D tanks. So brigade is an X with 11, 7 for a regiment of 3 lines, 3 eyes, I guess, if you will, and a battalion 5 with 2. And then once you select units, we'll see down below here it's telling you, hey, you have X number of points that you start out with, and remember, this is one of the things you could tweak when you started those standalone scenarios or the campaign even. That is used to buy units, just like in Panzer Corps, but it's also used to resupply your units during the battle. So you kind of have to get a balance between reinforcements and resupply. And each of those points cost a certain amount. So it's telling us, hey, we're going to show you how to resupply units. So let's look at our division. So it has full troop strength, basically, so 15 out of 15, that's good. But it doesn't have any ammo and it has no fuel. So let's put some fuel and ammo. So if we completely refit it with all of its ammo and all of its fuel, it'll cost 40 out of our 200 points. So let's go ahead and do that. And you can see how it went down to 160. And then it refit all of our other units automatically for us for the tutorial. So again, now we have 40 less points at the end of the scenario to buy reinforcements, but this Tiger, the 5th Panzer Division is completely refit, so that's good. Now this is telling us, hey, during the campaign you're going to have objectives that you need to capture and move units onto, and they are different colors. And that's what it's saying about these 4 tiles here, are that they're our tutorial objective. So we'll go ahead and move our tanks onto those points to capture them. And I believe right-click deselects, yep. So yeah, when I first started playing, that movement sound was incredibly loud, and I don't think you could even hear me talking over it, so I had to turn it down. So we've captured all of our objectives, right? And I just moused over that message, so I'll let you see it. Briefing. Combats. Okay, so here's where it was. It says, in Germany at war, you can reduce the defense of an enemy by placing several units adjacent to it. If there's 2 of our guys around one bad guy, or whatever, the defender will suffer from reduced combat values, basically because he has to fight on 2 fronts at the same time, so he has to try to cover his flanks, so he fights at a reduced efficiency. And then the more people you surround him with, obviously, the worse that penalty becomes for the defender. So let's go ahead and take our Panzer Division, and it's giving you nominal guesses at combat losses. So we would lose 1, and the 5th Cavalry Brigade of the Russians would lose 4, based on some items up here in the top right that you can see when I hover over it. And it'll explain that here quick, but we'll just go ahead and attack. Alright, to the left is the attacker, and on the right's the defender, excuse me. So we're the 5th Panzer Division against the 5th Cavalry Brigade. We had, and it's gonna tell us all this stuff here, so I don't need to go over it, I guess, right now. Hover over the middle icons to get information, which it'll do. There are a number, so these are the unit names, the combat values, so those are just like nominal military strengths, kind of. The defender gets a bonus for entrenchment, so he was dug in. And then it sums up all those values. So he had, 9 together all, and we had 26. The strength at the start of the combat, so we were both full strength. But if you were less than that, you get some penalties. Formations, smaller formations get a penalty, so because he was smaller, he took a penalty, then he was a brigade, basically, fighting a division. So that makes sense. We had him surrounded on 4 sides, so he took a pretty big hit there. Then your penalties get multiplied, the losses get counted up, and then the event at the end. And then you also gain experience, which we'll talk about, I think, later here in the tutorial. And then the entrenchment, you can see he went down by 1 because he left his entrenchment, basically. And then the result of the combat, he retreats. Alright, so I think we're supposed to destroy him, I want to say. So move our tanks around, and then he is destroyed. And you can see the same thing over there. And then we're supposed to take that position, which we did. Alright, so now units, you can see they all have this blinking, well, these 2 don't because I think they expended their turn, but these 2 units have blinking crosses. They have reached a new level, and you can add additional support units. And this is, I think, one of the things that sets this game apart from Panzer Corps, is that there's just a little bit more depth to the units, I think, than what I remember in Panzer Corps, and I haven't played that for a while, but I like this feature. So basically it says these support units that you tack on can increase the benefits of the main unit in one way. Add 1 support unit to one of the Tiger formations. So let's pick the 75th Panzer Regiment, and let's see, I can open the unit dialog box and click on the blinking icon on the right. Alright, bear with me here. Okay, so we can go to our main overlay of all of our units here. So the Panzer Division, okay, here it is. So here's some, you can even rename it, that's neat. So anyway, there's some what's the word I'm looking for? Basically descriptions of the unit. So if it attacks onto hills, it gets -8. So hill is not good for armor, right? Because it's hard for the tanks to elevate and depress their main gun enough. So that there's penalties for that. Urban terrain, yep, don't want to drive your tanks into the city, just like in Stalingrad, kind of thing. So here is, and it's highlighted for us. And you can see there's different levels as the units gain experience, but we can add different elements. So we could add a flame tank platoon, so it's going to ignore entrenchment bonus of up to 1. So like that entrenchment of 1 that cavalry brigade had would just go away because we have flame tanks, which is cool. You can add an additional battalion for another strength point, so it could go up to 16. Defense against armored vehicles +3, so a motorized anti-tank company. So let's pick an anti-tank company. Cool. And so anyway, that was a quick switch over, but anyway, basically that's saying as you gain experience, you can upgrade your units and make them what you want them to be. Specialize them is the word I'm looking for. So I think that's something, a feature that Panzer Corps did not have, that Germany at War does, and I like that. So we've completed the first part of the boot camp, and we're ready for our first mission. So we'll go ahead and hit that up. So we're going to train in a simulated battle. You're the attacker and your goal is to eliminate 3 marked enemies by using aircraft and tanks. So this also does have aircraft, just like Panzer Corps. For that, you have to add air units to your army in the next screen. You can either give up ground troops and take all the air units, or choose 2 and leave the rest. So yeah, again, choices, right? And here's where we can look at, so our objective is destroy the 3rd Rifle Division, the 2nd Rifle Division, and the 1st Rifle Division. So we haven't destroyed any yet, and capture target A. The enemy needs to delay us for 5 days. Okay, so here's where our reserve, here's what we currently have from last time. I bet we can even, well, I guess we can't right now, but so we have 6 slots of units we can use, and 4 of them we already have. So let's take Ju-88, and there's different stats about the units down here. So this would be its attack value against infantry, 16, and defense is 25. So it's a better infantry attacker. What do we got here? So this is an all-around better aircraft. So let's, can we pick that? So let's take the Ju-88, and really that makes sense, right? The Ju-88, if you're familiar, was just a not an upgraded version of the HE-111, but just a better all-around aircraft. And the HE-111, I believe, was originally designed off of, or it was built around to be, when Germany was under the Treaty of Versailles not allowed to have an air force, they would design civilian airliners, which then they could easily convert to bombers once the war started. And I think the HE-11 started in that way. Of course, this is the H-5 model, so it might be a little bit different than the original civilian version, obviously. But we don't need 2 bombers. I think we need, let's play our odds, and we'll take the first squadron of Jagdgeschwader Dry, or fighter group, the 3rd fighter group. So we'll take some fighters. So now I've got 6 out of 6. Okay, yep, that is our final decision. So now we can go in here and we can pick out some stuff. So it's the 75th Panzer Regiment. Let's just give them more ammo and fuel. Let's give them another strength. The 75th Panzer Battalion. Let's give them defense against motorized vehicles. These guys, I didn't get an upgrade, and these guys we already picked motorized anti-tank. Alright, so that's what we have. Now if we had more open slots, we have 210 that we could maybe buy, but we don't have any more slots, so that's really just all we can do. So if we could go to recruitment, and we could pick up, you know, if we wanted regular infantry, 39, we could look at their stats. Now we could motorize them or put them in half tracks, and again, this all, if you look over here under costs, so generically 180 points, if we add trucks to them, that almost doubles their cost, and then if you add half-tracks, even more. But nonetheless, we can't pick any of these because we're full. But you can see all the different units that you can pick from, so there's quite a few. It's pretty neat. Anyway, so we'll go ahead and deploy. So we have 50 resources, turn 1 of 5. So where, and the green, I think, circles are the only places we can put our guys. For the ground troops, anyway. So the brigade is less powerful. These are deploy fields. Anytime a new unit arrives in the battle, you can deploy them there. So we'll put him here. The regiment will be next to them, the battalion out here, and the division in the front. And then here's where we can put our units, so we'll put the fighters up here and the bombers right there. Just kind of abstract for the tutorial, at least. Alright, so we need to take target A, and we need to eliminate these forces. So let's get going. So we'll move our powerful Panzer Division with, if you see under over here is where you're going to see it, 5th Panzer Division with the Tiger Model E is essentially what that's saying there. We'll take the brigade. And then we'll also back it up with the, what's that, the battalion? Yep, and then we'll have the 75th Panzer Regiment move towards this direction and kind of scout out this target area. I don't see anything. So we've taken target area A. So we'll attack. So you can see the values don't always come out exactly right. It's kind of a guessing game, I guess, if you will. So he retreated, and because we didn't attack the first time, well, I guess he had a movement point left over, but these guys did not. Although we can now upgrade them, so let's give him all attack values +2, so specialized offensive staff. That seems reasonable. He already has one. He already has one. Alright, so now we can use our aircraft. So let's take the Kampfgeschwader 54 and attack. Let's bomb these guys. I like the sound effects. I like the movement. It's just cool. So we're probably going to lose a little bit from anti-aircraft defenses. We did, but we hit them fairly hard. I don't know if we can strafe. We can certainly give it a try. Let's see if we can't strafe these guys. Yep. Or destroyed them with strafing. Alright, so I think this is the end turn button, so we'll go ahead and do that. They are running away. The Russians are scared, as well as they should be. So we'll send out the 75th Panzer Regiment and attack. I don't know if anybody else is going to be able to make it. Not this turn, anyway. So you can see the fuel starting to get low as they have to drive all that way. And each time they attack, it expends 1 munition. Running away from me here. That's alright, we'll bomb ya. Alright, we destroyed him with some combined forces. Let's see if we can't. And again, I guess the aircraft, I don't know if they have a range. I'm not sure how they work exactly, but it doesn't look like they have fuel. I guess... Sorry, that's still kind of loud. I guess for the size of the map, you're just kind of simulating that their attack is what's kind of their range, because they can only do so many attacks before they have to go back and land. I feel like that's a reasonable compromise. So we attacked them. Excellent work. You won this exercise, and you proved yourself in real, or you can go on to prove yourself in real battle. So that was the end of the tutorial, guys. Hopefully you kind of had a decent look at it. It was about the exact time that I wanted to do for this video, but that kind of gives you a general feel of what this game would be like. Now, obviously, if we got into the campaign, any of the campaigns, we would be able to, change our resources, player bonus resources, and whatnot, and also then the experience of our troops, and we'd be able to buy troops, and they would be persistent over the battles, right? So just like in Panzer Corps, again, if you're familiar, if you're not, when I say that, it's not helping you, but basically Panzer Corps is a similar game. Anyway, if you're familiar with that, you build up a core group of units, and you keep them throughout the campaign. You reinforce them. So if you were to let one of them get destroyed, like we destroyed those Russian units, you'd lose a lot of investment and experience, and that's what I think makes this game and Panzer Corps addictive in a sense, is because you build up an army that is yours and units that are yours, and you can use them how you see fit to achieve the objectives. But anyway, that's a real quick look at Germany at War Barbarossa 1941. You guys, please let me know what you think. Hit the like button if you want to see more. If it's something you're not overly interested in, then let me know that as well, so I can kind of cater future videos to what you guys want to see. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and again, check out matrixgames.com. There's a lot of cool stuff out there if you're a fan of war strategy games from any era, really. So check that out. But until we see each other again, fly safe and game on.